Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about color. As a painter, color is very important to me. I deal with color, pretty much every time I create something, whether it's painting Warhammer 40,000 miniatures or whether it's painting a K-pop portrait here, whether it's doing illustration. Color is such an essential part of the visual art experience. It's not the only part, but it's super important. And this is something that took me a while to learn, but once I really internalized it, there was an immediate improvement in my craft and my art. And that's that things that you see that register as white or black are not actually white or black. The first example here is in the background of this piece. This is like a very light, very desaturated blue. You can see in the original photo it's more of an orange, but stylistically I chose to go with a blue. And it looks white, it's the lightest thing on the page throughout the entire piece. I don't go any lighter than that, and that is, for all intents and purposes, the white of the piece. And I know what you're saying. You're saying toasty. You're using black right now to sketch. And sure, that's fine because no one's going to see the sketch. It's not part of the finished piece. When I actually get to painting, you'll notice if you look at the color wheel closely in the corner there, that I get close to black sometimes and I get close to white sometimes, but I never actually go straight in for pure white or pure black. And the very simple reason for that is that those colors don't really exist in nature. If you just take a look around you, there's probably something white or black sitting near you. And if you take a photo of that, you bring that photo into your computer and then you take pure white, like FFF hexadecimal color, put it next to that white object, they're not going to be the same color. Same with black. Even black on your computer screen is not purely black. It's just the color of the monitor when the monitor is off. So everything in nature are not these pure colors because light is still hitting them. You have light sources in your room or outside or wherever you are that are bouncing photons off of all of these different objects, and those photons are bouncing in your eyes, and that's how we see, right? So for there to be pure true black, which would be 100% absorption of light, there would have to be 0 photons going into your eyes. And that doesn't happen in 99.9% of situations that you're in. There's a phenomenon called total cave darkness that I was actually fortunate enough to experience in a controlled and safe environment, where you are in that situation where there are no light sources, you're totally sealed away from the outside. That is total darkness. That is truly pitch black, but you also don't see anything. And if a light source was brought into that situation, it would immediately stop being black. So what you're seeing usually is dark colors, but the blacks that you see are usually just reflective of whatever the light source is. If it's a warm light source, it's going to be a very dark brown or orange or something like that. If you color pick it, if you actually see exactly what that that digital color value might be. So because these colors don't exist in nature, it doesn't make sense to use them in art. Well, caveats, exceptions. Stylistically, it can often be a very good choice to use white or black, but it needs to be done with thought. Not like this character has a black shirt, I'm going pure black. It has to be like I'm drawing a comic book and I want some strong inks. The medium is sort of restricting my expression there. I can't do like a nice paint. It's got to be black and white. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. But generally speaking, if you're trying to do something and make it look natural, don't use pure black and pure white to do it. Everything has a hint of that light source in it, and that should be reflected in whatever you're drawing as well. So the light source here is a little bit warmer, so I'm going for desaturated, warm shifted tones for my highlights, and a cool shifted dark blue for the deep shadows there. And this is also why, like, you shouldn't highlight and shade. If you're doing like an illustrative style and you want to use like a multiply layer for shading, don't do black. Use like a blue or a purple or something like that. Usually light sources are warm. In most cases, some cases they aren't, but usually they are. So shadows tend to kind of run cooler. So you can use a blue or a purple or something like that as your shadow tone. But yeah, there are other cases where you might want to use pure white and pure black. Metal is a big one. Metal, the thing that makes metallics look metallic and shiny is the amount of contrast that they contain. They run a wider color gamut than non-metallic items. That means there's a greater range in their values that you can see. So the darks are darker, the lights are lighter than in a non-metallic object. Or that goes for anything kind of glossy or reflective and anything like that. So if you're painting a metal, it can be useful at times to get some spots of pure black and pure white in there to up the contrast and make it look more metallic. But again, that's an exception to the rule. Another one, for the same reason, your eyes. Your eyes are like, they're wet, right? Everybody has like somewhat wet eyes. And because of that, they have a glassy texture to them. They're kind of reflective. Using a spot of pure white to highlight the eye can really make it pop and make it seem more alive. That being said, the whites of your eyes, they're not white. Don't use white for the whites of people's eyes. Use a light gray, use a light yellow or red or something like that. Very desaturated, of course. And then use the spot of pure white, and then you're highlighting not only the iris, but also the white of the eye, and it looks so much better. Because you're really selling that the eye is a surface that is highlighting it. You're grounding it in three-dimensional space when you do that. So yeah, the entirety of this headpiece, which was white, I was just using the background color for the entire time. And it registers as brighter sometimes because, well, it's surrounded by a bunch of dark stuff, so that makes it appear brighter, even though it's just the background color. I do apply a stylistic layer here, which does actually physically make it brighter than the background. But that is, again, like, that's not what I was doing during the process. So yeah, it's kind of a short topic to talk about, but it's definitely a really important one to think about. And it's something that can help you easily improve your art just by thinking about, okay, my character has a black shirt, but it's not going to be black. They're in a room with a yellow light. It's going to be a dark yellow, you know? And then that makes your job easier too, because now you can shade it. You have this shirt that's not black. You can't shade something that's pure black, you know? So it's making your job easier too. It's letting you think more volumetrically about things. It will help overall increase your ability to ground things in the world and in three-dimensional space. As for this piece, I'm really happy with how it turned out. This was using my more speed painting style. Took around 3 hours, two and a half hours, I want to say. But yeah, super stoked with how it turned out. One of my favorite pieces in this style that I've done, which is not a ton, I'm still developing it. But I wanted to show this as an example because of how contrasted it is, and how much you can see a clear flow from light into darkness in that piece. It seemed like the right time to talk about that. Anyway, thank you for hanging out as always. And if you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing. It always helps me out. Otherwise, if you thought that was a good tip, leave a like, leave a comment. If you disagree, if you are strictly about whites and blacks for some reason, let me know in the comments. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.